Why, hello to all you scrambled eggs out there. Me, is Scott Pyre here, or maybe I'm Deadpool. I'm not sure. So, yes! Hello everyone, Scott Pyre here. I am ready to do my full in-depth review of Deadpool and Wolverine. I saw it last night with my buddy Sean, and I did a review for him for his channel, and I'm gonna go ahead and do my own review. And this movie, it was a freaking blast. I freaking loved this film. Uh, from the very beginning of the movie to the very end, I laughed a lot throughout. If anything else, this movie is just a complete joy and a complete blast from beginning to end. Like the humor here, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, both of these actors have just embodied these characters. They really have. And oh my goodness. I loved the opening scene of this movie because it really set the tone for the entire film overall. And I rocked out with the soundtrack of this movie. I loved the soundtrack. Oh my goodness. It's not quite Guardians of the Galaxy level amazing, but I definitely think that the soundtrack for this film is better than like Deadpool 2, and maybe Deadpool, and maybe Deadpool 1. I'd have to rewatch those movies again, even though I did rewatch Deadpool 1 and 2 before seeing this, as well as the Logan movie. And for those of you that have seen a lot of the older Marvel movies before the MCU, ranging from the Blade movies to the Fantastic Four films to the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck, if you've seen those movies, you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat, good people. And I just think that this is a movie that will definitely be talked about for a while. I'm sure a lot of people, once they see this, will be talking about it for a while. And it definitely leaves a lasting impression. It doesn't do anything new and different necessarily, but it does something fresh for the MCU in being the first hard R-rated film in the MCU. And because of that, I think it's just so refreshing seeing a movie like this after a lot of the hits and misses that we've had since Endgame. And it just did such an amazing job honoring this particular era of superhero films that was dominant in the early 2000s. And it's just, it hits with the nostalgia factor. It really gets you right here. And I loved this film. I really did. But I do need to talk about a few tiny little nitpicks here. Nothing too major, really, just a few nitpicks. I do think that the movie went at such a breakneck pace. There wasn't a whole lot of time to breathe at certain points because it just kept going in rapid succession. That's the one nitpick I have. And then also, in regards to the villain, I liked her. I thought she was an interesting villain. It's just, I've seen better villains in the MCU. I've seen better villains that have lasted longer too, throughout multiple films. Because I don't think this character is coming back. Maybe she will. I don't know. But as of now, in this one movie, she was serviceable, and I liked her. I did, and I thought she was an interesting villain, especially because of her backstory. And that's all I'm gonna say. But and also, I liked her. I thought her powers were interesting. I thought the way she used her powers to, entice some of the other characters, and mind tripping them. Interesting little word there, Scott Plyer. I thought it was really fascinating, and as such, she is a villain that is definitely intimidating in a sense that her powers, like she's powerful. She's really powerful, and I thought that was very fascinating. And you know, this movie sort of being like Multiverse of Madness and uh, others in this MCU franchise being sort of a cameo fest for popular characters. You get that, but it works. It works with the story of this film and how it's able to connect all of that with the TVA, which that's not a spoiler because that's been teased in all the trailers. You know, the TVA from the Loki show. I thought that at being this place that connects all of these things, I thought was a very um, um, involved and just made it feel connected to the MCU and to the X-Men movies from the past, and it just all worked and it was tight in such a nice little bow, like a piece of cake. And I just, oh wow. And also, the choreography too. Like, if there's anything worth praising about this movie, it's the choreography, the fight sequences. There's this one scene between Wolverine and Deadpool where they're fighting, and it's such a funny moment. Uh, it's in a car, and that was an amazing scene. I really love that scene because they just kept going, and they wouldn't stop until they got too tired. That was so funny, and it was a really cool song playing during that too. And this soundtrack, oh my goodness, a lot of good songs I love while listening to this movie and watching it. And I let's see. And also, in regards to the actual plot and the story, I do think that is sort of safe in a sense that it doesn't do anything too extravagant or different. It's safe compared to other MCU films that are also safe. It doesn't do anything too extreme, really, but that's okay. It's a serviceable story, and you can follow along with it. And you don't have to watch the Deadpool movies, really, to watch this one. I mean, you can, and you get a little bit more out of this film because of that. You get a little bit more out of this film if you've seen all the other films. And you don't necessarily have to, but you get that full experience if you do, and it's so much more satisfying because of that. And, if you're a casual fan who hasn't seen those movies, maybe this movie might not be for you because there's a lot in this film that maybe you might not be able to latch on to because it just it's nostalgia, it's full of cameos, and people that are casuals that might not have seen all the other films, they're not going to get that. And that's the way it is with these kinds of movies. But that's not really a negative. But I love this film. I loved it so much, and I loved the way it ended too. It was so interesting, and I also think there were a lot of really tender moments throughout this movie too, in regards to Wolverine's character and the arc he went on, and it was just so fascinating. And I can't stress enough how much I loved this film. Easily one of my favorite movies this year. And my grade for Deadpool and Wolverine is an A. I loved this film so much. So yeah, that is my grade for Deadpool and Wolverine. Thank you guys so much for watching. And this weekend is San Diego Comic-Con, and if there's any big reveals, I'll definitely do a video covering it. So look forward to this weekend. I'm curious what will be revealed, what kind of trailers will be released online. We shall see. But it's San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, so there's a lot going on. And I will catch you all on the flip side. Peace.